I have a GMC motor coach, a 1974 GMC Canyonlands. It has the 455 Oldsmobile engine, the big block Olds. It has the 3-speed with the chain drive, and I myself think it's a work of beauty, and I enjoy having it so much. But it broke my heart recently to see what, well, an internet, I call him a friend of mine. I mean, we've had some messaging back and forth, but James Wanderlust Estate and some of the issues that he's had with his GMC RV. And I wanted to point out some of these things for um, your consideration if you're going to buy an RV. So why do I get to talk about this? Well, number one, I bought an RV and it was a good RV, and it wasn't on accident that it was a good RV. It was from checking it out and having mechanical experience. So a lot of mechanical experience, a lot of rebuilds in my life, a lot of rebuilds, top and bottom. Work on engines, rings, just everything, crankshaft, the works, journal bearings. I've done it all. So I'm telling you that if you are not mechanically inclined, it's really a tough place to exist in the RV world because things will break down. And if you can fix them yourself, you're going to save a lot of money. If you can't, you're going to get screwed. Because if you don't know what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, then you're going to get screwed. Okay? You've got to be able to hear something, drive something, feel something to understand if it's quality or not. So if you don't have any mechanical inclination, you better know somebody that does. And when it comes time for buying, you better have that person along with you, because that can be the difference between buying a decent rig or buying a money pit that you're pouring thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into. Now, it's really easy to argue that Wanderlust Estate, James bought a probably worth $5,000 to $6,000 the rig, but these GMC RVs are not that uncommon, and they can be found in very good shape with low mileage, running well for six to 12 to $16,000. So the time to find out that you don't need work done is after you've already put your money down on the rig, and then you find out, well, you need this exhaust system, this crossover's rotten, this header manifold's bad, this these brakes are bad, the airbag system's bad, the suspension's bad, the frame's rotting, on and on and on and on. Get an independent third party objective view of what you're thinking about buying. If I didn't know about mechanical systems and stuff like that, I would have taken the rig to a certified truck mechanic, which I had ended up taking just as a backstop for me for safety. After I purchased it, I had some routine oil change and lubrication done, and I paid the guy to be my backstop and look at this and see if there was anything on it that needed attention. And he said, nope, it's good to go. At your convenience, you may think about changing out the ball joints. It's fine. Okay, just bring it back in. Slack time will take care of it. But having that behind me, if I'm a buyer, means a lot. Now you might say to yourself, well, they're not going to allow me to do it. Then walk away from the deal. We've seen James Wanderlust Estate just get screwed on this deal by having this rig, and arguably somebody else donated the money for it, this Smitty who died. But there's been untold thousands of dollars poured into this thing, with possibly thousands more to come. And who knows, what's going to happen. So it's very troubling. Then, we also, that's not the only case. I mean, there's other cases out there too, where people have just bought stuff and then ended up getting screwed on it because it's not mechanically sound. So if you don't know mechanics, or are not mechanically inclined, get it inspected. And if the person doesn't want to have it inspected, then walk away from it. If a person's willing to have you put down $8,000, $10,000 to buy a used rig, 12, 15, then you better believe they're not going to mind if you get it inspected. Chris and G Travels, another guy that got screwed on his rig. He paid top dollar for the Dodge Monaco, but then at the end of the day, he found out it was just a broker deal, and the dealer had no interest in standing behind him when it came time to taking care of some of the issues that, well, he had to get the owner to take care of them, and even then, satisfaction came in dribs and drabs, and it still didn't work out real good. And he had issues on it because the rig wasn't really properly inspected and thoroughly tested, and all systems cleaned and brought up to snuff before it was purchased. Remember, an RV dealer will tell you anything to get the deal done. They don't care. Look, sign it off today. You can bring this back every day for the next month, and we'll take care of it. Let me shake hands. We got a deal. You know what? You go back the next day, they're going to be out to lunch, and the next day, and the next day, and you're going to have a hell of a time because after a week, they're not even going to remember you. What? And then the sales manager come out. He had no right to do that. I'm sorry. We can't honor that unless it's in writing. Remember, it's their business. It's your fun on the line, and therein lies the real problem. It's like these RV buyers, when they get the money in hand, they race so fast to buy that they almost trip over themselves and are their own worst enemy, because the very time that you should be going the slowest and really taking your time, you got the real rush, you got the blood up, you're so excited that you can't get that money down fast enough, and your judgment kind of gets clouded, and you're not really hearing what people are saying, and they're just blah blah blah, sure, we do good, and don't sign anything until that rig is perfect. Don't sign anything. And if you're buying from a private individual, I think you got a much better chance of getting a good shake on a vehicle. I mean that honestly, because they will sell the vehicle. It's not their livelihood. It's in their interest to sort of disclose problems, because who owns it, as opposed to the dealers. Like, well, there's 500 on the lot here. How did we know? The owner didn't tell us that was going on. We checked it out, but we can't check everything. The owner knows you know him, and if he's got half a brain, he's going to be honest about it. So these are some of the suggestions I made. Now, did I take my time? Yeah, I did. I took 3 months of looking around and inspecting and checking out rigs and stuff until I finally identified one that hit all the parameters that I wanted. And I went out there and I listened to it and I inspected it. And I was able to make the judgments, like when Jerry Garcia is out there with ask him, does the generator work? And let's start her up. And whoa, you can't push the button inside, the start button on the inside. I got to use a corkscrew on the outside to start it. Now, the average person might have said, what the hell, and walked away. But I'm able to make the judgment that this electrical thing can easily be solved, control board issue, wiring issue. These things are doable. And just being able to make those judgments about, well, let's start the engine up. How does it sound? How does it smell? Like even right now, the Rolling Rancho is running rich. I mean, it needs a carburetor rebuild. I know that. But it's not impinging terribly on the performance of the rig. But being able to determine things and then being able to fix things is so helpful for saving money. And it just broke a lot of people's hearts just to see this come down with all these repair problems and all that. And I hope it has a good outcome. So take your time. You can never really be totally sure, but good deals are out there if you wait. If you really wait. I mean, I looked at rigs down in Sunnyvale, where Apple Computer is down there, $16,000 for the same low mileage, and then I was able to find this one for, final of about 5,000 out in the Central Valley there. So, take your time. That's my biggest caution of all. And if you don't know what you're doing, take someone with you that does know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, learn. Learn some things and pick up some skills. They could really save your life one day in an RV. They can sure save you a lot of money. Be smart. Okay. Thanks, everyone. And appreciate your comments. If you have anything to add in the way of advice on buying an RV, put it down below. There's people out there in the RV community that I know, friends of mine, that have bought and sold 10 and 15 RVs. And you know what? They keep coming back for more because they have confidence in themselves. They know what they're looking for, and they know when something's right, and they know when something's a good deal. Okay? It's not going to happen to you overnight. So get help and don't be afraid to ask. Okay? Don't get screwed. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching.